Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day in my neighborhood. It is raining. Y'all know how I feel about the rain. This is another entry into a video a day in May. Shout out to my May babies, my fellow Taurians. Happy birthday and what's up? So, I, of course, was online the other day. I get the most interesting topics from online. I promise you I do. And I come and I vlog about it after I've already said what I got to say to the people I need to say it to. But anyway, there was a question that was posed. I'm gonna have to paraphrase because I can't quite remember the story in its entirety. But the story goes a little something like this. Young lady was, posting for a friend and saying that, her friend went through her significant other's phone, found messages between the significant other and his mama. And the significant other said that he was going to propose to her, and even if the wedding didn't happen, at least he did it. He proposed. So the question, which I thought was odd, was, it wasn't even a question. It was more like, now my friend is in shambles, I'm assuming emotionally, because she feels some kind of way about that last statement, that even if the marriage doesn't happen, that at least he proposed. And so now the question was, what should she do? And people had a variety of responses, of course, but my response was, what can she do? She painted herself in a corner. And this is why we do not go through other people's things. This is why we stay out of messages that don't belong to us. And this is why we learn to respect boundaries. Now listen, I am, a former reformed snooper. When I was married, I snooped all the time, with cause and with provocation. In my last relationship, I did that once. Not his phone, but it was a situation where I went over to his house and I noticed that my picture was gone. Okay. I'd been at his house before, unsupervised. I'm not somebody that goes through people's things. I'm just not. I have matured. At least at that point, I had matured beyond that. I just didn't feel the need to do that. And so this particular day when I showed up, I was there. I was waiting on him to get off work. Noticed, I went to go sit in the living room, noticed that my picture that was always on the entertainment center was gone. Okay, where my stuff at? So I'm looking, thinking, maybe he put it in his bedroom, whatever. No, it was nowhere to be found. Then I found it face down, so I can't even remember where I found it. It was like face down, hidden, whatever. Which immediately speaks to me. You had somebody else in this house that you didn't want them to see this picture. You definitely did not want to be questioned about who this person was in this picture. It also could mean that he only puts it up when I'm coming over. So there, those are one of two scenarios. Either way, it was a problem for me. So before I found it face down, where did I find that picture? I can't remember. But wherever I found it face down, before that, I looked in a closet in his office and saw women's shoes and a scarf, I think. And so I saw it. I made note of it. It's one of the reasons why I don't wear Vince Camuto today, but that's a different story. So I go sit on the couch and I'm waiting for him to get off work. So when he gets off work, that's where I am, sitting on the couch. He comes in and he immediately knows that there's something off. So I questioned him. I said, I noticed my picture was gone. I went looking for it, the whole nine. His story was those are insert name of his brother's girlfriend's shoes. She came over to the house with those shoes on, and she was marking up the floor, and I told her to take them off. So then my next question was, well, did she walk out to the car barefoot? Because the shoes are still here. And you would think that if she had shoes to change into, she would change into those shoes and take those shoes with her. Yeah, that. Anyway. So suffice it to say, we had a bit of a disagreement as to the validity of the excuse that I was given. But where I'm going with this is I did nothing with that information, at least not initially. I knew that I had a gut check. I knew that I had a reason to feel something. I knew that my intuition and my gut was going off for a reason. I just didn't know why. That should have been the point that I should have walked away. Point blank, period. And the reason that I'm saying that, and the reason that I'm tying this into going through your man's phone or going through your woman's phone, is there's a breach of trust by the time you do that. Trust me when I say that if you go looking for something, you probably will find it. And if you find it, you need to be prepared for what's on the other side of that discovery. I think that far too many of us do that and don't have any idea of next steps. And we put ourselves in a bind. We put ourselves in a corner. We're not prepared to do anything. We're not prepared to walk away. All we're really prepared to do is to argue. Argue and have a pissing contest about what's ours and what's not going to happen and what we not going to stand for. When the reality is that we stand for that and a lot more, because eventually we calm down and we decide, oh, I don't want to throw away in a certain number of years here. And I'm not saying that you should. What I'm saying is that you need to have a conversation about those kinds of things outside of going and digging up evidence. I was watching Dr. Phil the other day, and the same scenario, although I do think that this woman is delusional, but this woman was driving herself batshit crazy, trying to find evidence that her man was unfaithful, or not even her man, that her husband was unfaithful. I mean, she was putting recording devices under the bed. She was popping out of closets. She was dang near stalking him, trying to find evidence. Then, she was trying to convince Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil was saying, why are you working so hard to prove that he's cheating? I'm not. He's just making it seem like he's crazy. I'm crazy and blah, blah, blah. I personally felt like she should, first of all, that relationship was so toxic and so damaging. He really should have left, because if he wasn't doing anything, that's crazy behavior. She needed to get that under control. If he was doing something and this woman really felt like this, she needed to leave. At some point, it turns into a lot of toxicity. It turns into a lot of damage on both sides. And I don't know that you can recover from that. I really don't. Once that breach of trust has been introduced into your relationship, it's difficult to recover that. And it starts with that little seed of doubt where you are sleeping next to somebody that you don't even trust. Like, how does that work out for long term? It doesn't. And I'll tell you, back to my scenario, I never really fully trusted my guy again after that. Like, I just was waiting for something else. I may not have articulated that, but that's a horrible way to live. That's a horrible way to exist within the confines of a relationship. That's a horrible way to allow your insecurities to manifest, because that's what it is. I mean, you feel insecure about the destabilization of whatever environment that you're feeling at that particular time, your external environment, in the context of this relationship. And so you begin to do things in order to prove or substantiate your feeling. I don't know that you need to carry it that far. I think that at some point you need to just cut your losses and say, you know what, this is not really working out. I don't trust you. I don't really recognize why I don't trust you, but I'm having a whole lot of anxiety and issues around it, and it's disturbing my peace. And so before I wind up hating you, and before we wind up being something to each other that we should have never been in the first place, let's just cut our losses. It's hard to do that, especially when you have a lot of investment in a relationship. I recognize that. And, again, if you're able to sit down and have a comprehensive conversation about it, and, he's able to, or she's able to set aside your, your fear and your doubt, and you can carry on without damage to the relationship, then God bless you. Now back to this scenario. she painted herself in a corner because she can't disclose that she's been going through this man's phone and say, you know, hey, I saw the text messages between you and your mama. What did you mean by X, Y, and Z? That's number one. Number two, she ruined every hope of a surprise for a proposal. I mean, hopefully they've been talking about marriage, and this is not something that is just out the blue and he's decided that he wants to do this and she doesn't want marriage at all. That would be interesting. But now, you know, whatever planning that he's been doing in order to sufficiently surprise this woman with a proposal is now out the window because she's been all in his stuff. So now she knows what he's up to. Third of all, it could have been worse, honest to God. I mean, like, he's talking to his mama. I don't know the context in which he would have said that. Would that have thrown me off if I saw it? Yes, but I also wouldn't have gone looking for that. And I don't feel like that man owes her an explanation about what he discussed in a private conversation or communication with somebody that was not her. Like, how do you approach somebody that, yeah, you know, that's ridiculous. That's so crazy to me. And borderline stalking, and you know, you treating a man like a 4-year-old, like he can't be trusted, and you got to go behind him and see what he's up to, see what he's doing because he's been too quiet. Like, all the no ever. I just don't know that that's a way to live. I don't want to live like that. I don't ever want to be with somebody ever again that I cannot trust. I don't ever want to have my gut going off and me sitting and thinking that I'm crazy. Yeah, I don't want to do that. And then also I want you guys to really think about the fact that we all have triggers. And so certain behaviors, certain situations can make you feel very deja vu-ish. And it's not that that person is doing anything. It's just that whatever behavior that caused you to have doubt and insecurities in a previous relationship is still packed away in that luggage that you never dealt with. And so now this person, unbeknownst to him or her, is acting the way that they act, and you are responding to it because it's familiar to you. I've had to go through that, and I have had triggers, and I've had to come back and apologize because I respond to that stimuli in an inappropriate way. And yeah, let's not be crazy our whole lives. Let's try and grow out of that and evolve and be better human beings. I'm Felisa. Y'all leave y'all comments below. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to y'all later on.